Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Great to be with you on the show.
I wonder, has any Penn State stuff happened over the past 24 hours? No one's been hired. I have not actually been hired yet as Penn State head coach, even though rumors are out there swirling, Steve Jones. And I believe you'll be my defensive coordinator and Jack Cam my offensive coordinator because I'm being logical today.
Okay. Once again, Jerry Valeri's on a message board. All right,
so not on the message board is the.
Let's talk about Kehlani
Yes.
Sitake for a moment, okay? Because it's finally now out there that there's the interest and the mutual interest in it. Look, first of all, he has all the ties, of course, for him, whether it's playing at BYU, now coaching at BYU. He's got all the emotional ties there. Mm-hmm. So I completely understand what's going on. But it's not as if he's not interested in what's going on here. And there's a bunch of things. I mean, let's get to the resources part. And I've said this before. Mm-hmm. I said it when the process began, and I've reiterated it a couple of times. Anybody who comes here is going to have more resources than they ever had at their previous place, and that includes BYU. I know what BYU is paying on their basketball front. I got that part. Mm-hmm. That's like the bowl over.
AJ Avanza's getting $5-6 million, and then down from there. Yeah.
No, he's getting $7 million.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Oh, my bad. I lowballed it. I lowballed how much they were paying somebody.
Okay. I mean, they're paying more for their basketball program than Kentucky is.
Mm-hmm. That's saying something.
That's saying something. But you'll have more resources here. And now, what's your goal? Is your goal to be a coach that wins the national championship? Right? So let's take the current circumstance and relate it to last year's circumstance. Penn State finished the regular season last year at 11-1. When Penn State played Oregon in the Big Ten championship game last year, in the open, at least the part I do, after Roger does.
The ad reads, the everything.
Well, no, but Roger actually opens the broadcast. Mm-hmm. It's the open I do before we actually get into the game action. I said, look, here are the stakes. The winner gets a first-round bye in the Rose Bowl. Okay? The loser gets a home game in the playoff. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, did I know that for sure? Well, gee, I was about 98% sure based on how it was playing out. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Oregon won the game by 8. They get the Rose Bowl. Penn State, gets a 5 seed. They were actually the 4, but they had to get bumped back. Actually, they got 6.
They got 6. They had to bump back.
Texas and Penn State were 3-4 last year. Got bumped back to 5-6. Mm-hmm. They both got home games. Mm-hmm. Texas got Clemson. Penn State got SMU. Move ahead 1 year. BYU's 11-1. Same record Penn State was last year. Mm-hmm. There are 2 lost teams out there, Notre Dame being one, Miami being another. Guess which team right now is the first team out?
I believe it is
11-1 BYU. And they have no chance of getting in to the playoff unless they win their game
against Texas
Tech. Right? If they lose the game, they're out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So in other words, at BYU, the unfortunate part is, based on conference and so forth, you have to go 12-0 to even think about getting an at-large bid. Mm-hmm. In the Big Ten, you're going to get a minimum of 3 and as many as 5 every year. Mm-hmm. And if there's an expansion to 16, there's even more cushion. So you're going to get the money. Mm-hmm. Check the box. You're going to get the time to do it. check the box. Right? You're going to have alignment with your athletic director and your president, which he probably already has at BYU anyway, but check the box here on that too, okay? And you're going to have a better shot at getting to the playoff here than you do there.
Because you have to go perfect.
Right,
there.
and I'm not saying it's fair or unfair. It's just the way it is. Notre Dame can be 10-2. And we're debating right now about whether or not, it's them or Miami, even though they beat Miami. But Notre Dame's right there in the conversation. Their record is worse than BYU's. But BYU's the first team out. Notre Dame's right now in the thick of it.
Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama are all, as of last week, ranked above BYU
with 2 losses.
One more loss. Yes.
Yeah, with 2 losses. Right? That is a wake-up call for any head coach as to where you are. And the guy is I've casually watched BYU for years.
They're a good team.
Right? I mean, casually. And every time I watch them, I say the same thing over and over again. Kehlani Sitake's really a good coach. Right? Now, I'm only watching to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I've felt that about a bunch of guys over the years. I've seen James Madison play a little bit. I think Bob Chesney's a really good coach. I've watched, UNLV now with Dan Mullen. I think he's a terrific coach. Right? So it's not like I haven't sat there and casually watched other coaches across the country. Of course I have. I watch other games like everybody else. Right? And not as many on Saturdays as all of you do. You guys watch more games than we do. I mean, when you're on a bus traveling back from Rutgers, you're not really watching. Although one of the grad assistants did have the Alabama-Auburn game on. So we kind of glanced over once in a while just to see what was going on. But but BYU's played at odd times. They played some Friday nights, played some Thursday nights. Okay. Right. And every time I watch them, I think, fun team to watch. And I've always thought this guy's a really good coach. I never once considered that he would be part of the Penn State mix. It was just an observation of watching another team play. And hey, I remember when Kalen DeBoer was at Fresno State. Right? I thought at Indiana he was terrific. I watched Fresno State and I thought, God, somebody's going to hire that guy. Right? And it turned out Washington did. Okay. I mean, there's just certain guys you can see how organized that they are and how they go about things. Should he take the job? He doesn't have ties on this side of the country.
That's the thing.
But there are people here that have ties on this side of the country. Right? Right? Sorry. Well, no. Terry's one of them. Right? I mean, Terry's one of them. Kenny Sanders is still here. He's another one. Right? I mean, Dan Connor is still here. He's another one.
That's the question: is who do you get then as his coordinators? And this has been part of the discussion. Well, the thought out there is
you got to hire. You got to hire him first.
Yeah.
Right after that. Now the issue is going to be, right, with this, is what do you how do you handle the fact that they are in the title game against Texas Tech, and the game at Texas Tech. Where is this game? Is it Kansas City or Dallas? It's usually one of the two.
The game this weekend is
It's either Kansas City or Dallas, I think.
It is taking place in, if I can find literally any information, that would be incredible. Their game this weekend against Texas Tech is taking place in Arlington.
Yeah, so it's in Dallas. Okay. All right. So they got to go there. Okay. Now it'll be warm inside. But Texas Tech, I think, beat them 29-7 something. They beat them by a pretty good margin.
Earlier this season it was 29-7. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Second time through, we'll see.
But it was a big game last time. But speaking on the Sitake part,
I mean, we'll see what he wants to do. It's again, the hard part is, and I say this as somebody who's a Penn State grad who has spent his entire life here, right? Entire adult life here. Okay. My ties here run deep, even though all the personnel has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, all the personnel has changed. There are really very few people left that when I started, there's like a handful of us. But my ties are deep here. So I can relate to what he's thinking. His ties are deep there.
Yeah,
I mean,
he took over as head coach in 2016. His mentor was Lavelle Edwards, who was the longtime BYU head coach. He, of course, you mentioned, played there from 97 to 2000.
Joe really had great respect for Lavelle Edwards.
He's a great coach.
It's one thing about over 32 years of talking to somebody. There's so many different topics you talk to. Right? If Colorado State was playing, he'd talk to me about Sonny Lubick. If BYU was playing, those Thursday night games, we'd do the talk show on Thursday night, and then he'd talk to me. He says, "Hey, who's playing tonight?" "Oh, yeah, BYU's playing." "Oh, Lavelle Edwards does it." Joe had the highest respect for Lavelle Edwards.
And Lavelle coached. Sitake completed a 2-year mission back in 94 for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, because I believe he is Mormon, to Oakland, California in 94. He then was drafted. Some of the players he's coached at BYU or his previous stops at Utah, Southern Utah, and across the board include Puka Nacua, Tyler Algier in the recent years, Fred Warner. You've got Starla Tulele, Zach Wilson, Kingsley Suamatia, and Eric Weddle, amongst others. So he's a very highly regarded coach, and this news kind of took everyone over last night. And at the same time it was happening, as we've discussed, only so many people before yesterday, we talked, and there was these rumors out there of this person, that person, but there was nothing anyone could agree upon. And all of a sudden last night...
That's why you play it very cautious and close to the vest.
But then my point is, then last night, all of a sudden, when every single insider and every single reporter and everybody is putting the same information out there, of they're in discussions with him, there's a reason that it is being brought out to the world. And it could be a lot of different reasons. It could be they are legitimately close and that they are on the finish line of a contract. It could also be that his agent is trying to get him a better deal from BYU, which is rumored they're really trying to push heavy to get him more money to stay in Utah.
I think this is an emotional decision for him.
Course.
I don't look.
Yeah.
They come up with the money. They come up with the money. But Penn State's going to come up with the money too.
Yeah.
Look. This just didn't happen over the last couple of days.
No, this has been going on for a while.
There's been interest on his part in this job. And there's been interest on Penn State's part in him.
Yeah.
Okay? So
I do want to bring up...
And that's why, but again, as somebody that has spent 5 decades here, I mean, I've been here since 1976 and in State College since 1978. I started out at Wilkes-Barre. Okay? So it's going to be 50 years. Well, all my ties are here. So I understand if somebody is sitting there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not pretend I haven't been offered jobs over the years. Okay? I have.
Yeah.
Right? Several. And each time I ended up saying no.
It is a tough,
and I'm just saying,
decision,
right? So I understand if there's an emotional part of this for him. I get it. I don't know the man at all. Never have been in the room with him. I've never been, I don't even think I've even remotely been close to being around him, ever. So I don't know him at all.
We have Travis right now in the conversation is also mentioning that he agrees with you. It's not about the money. It is an emotional decision. As we've pointed out, the other piece of news that has come on out over the past few hours or so is also the idea of, let's say Sitake does stay at BYU. Who would be next up on Penn State's board? The main name out there that has also been reported on, amongst others, along with Sitake's rumors, has been Jeff Brom, the Louisville head coach. He is the other piece of this because, we'll get to the coaches that were hired yesterday, a lot more coaches are now coming off the board that have been hired. And we've talked about it of, yes, only so many people get hired because there's only so many opportunities and so on and so forth. But the other coaches hired is also having a factor on this. So yesterday, we wrapped the show up at noon. What happens an hour and a half later? We discussed him on the show. Bob Chesney expected to sign a 5-year deal with UCLA following James Madison's bowl games. It looks like he's going to coach the Sun Belt Championship.
Which is Friday night.
If they make the playoffs, he will coach them through the playoffs, but he will become UCLA's next head coach moving forward. So,
well, he has an agreement in principle.
Yes, agreement in principle, so
to my
it could
knowledge,
change.
there's nothing signed.
Yes.
But very quickly on that, if Duke wins against Virginia, okay, there's a big problem for the ACC.
Yeah.
Because
we'll discuss the ACC.
No, it deals with coaches. Okay, I'm keeping this on track here for you for a second. Okay, let's stay on track.
Okay.
All right, if Duke were to win, that would mean that if Tulane were to win, I think they played North Texas. I think.
Yeah. So if either of them win,
right, they'd be ranked higher. If James Madison were to win against Troy on Friday, they would be ranked higher. They would both get the automatic bids. Duke would not.
It would be 4 and 5. Duke would be 6, quote unquote.
Right.
Of
Which
the automatic.
means James Madison, say they were to win, and either North Texas or Tulane, their coaches would be coaching in a playoff. To your point, because there's a chance they both get in if Duke were to win over Virginia. And nobody knows how Duke's going to play.
No.
Okay? Not even Manny knows how Duke is going to play. And the problem with Virginia is this. They're a very good team, but they play a lot of close games. And close games are fun, exciting, the whole thing. But when you play a whole bunch of them, the margin of error is so small that when you finally make the first mistake in one of these, you get burned.
That's what we discussed last year with the NCAA tournament is I believe it was Duke that had played like 4 going into that tournament, and everyone was like, oh, they haven't played enough close games. You don't want your team playing close games. You want to, as you and Dick Girardi have said time and time again, if you want to play and win by 10 instead of win by 10, win by 15. And you want to
blow teams out because guess what? The really good teams aren't in close games.
Yes.
All right? And we've said that over and over again. The really good teams aren't in close games. But again, that is a factor
in the ACC.
But it's also a factor in all of this in terms of some people waiting on people.
Yeah. Because
now Kentucky didn't wait; they went and they got Will Stein right away.
That is the next name I wanted to bring up.
That's the coordinator moving up to being a head coach.
Yeah,
right, and that's not unheard of. Kirby Smart was a coordinator, moved up. Marcus Freeman was an interim and a coordinator and moved up. Okay, so people moving up as coordinators, right, without head coaching experience. Okay, it happens. It's not unusual.
It's normal,
right? It's normal, and Will Stein is ready to have his own program because you've seen the job that he's done at other places, including what he's done at Oregon. He did a great job. He's a prime guy to look at, and it is normally, not always, when you have. Let's do this in baseball. Your manager is a disciplinarian.
Sure.
9 times out of 10, the next guy gets a player's manager. Okay. If I have a defensive coach as my head coach, 8 times out of 10, the next guy is an offensive coach.
Usually flips.
Right? Kentucky had Stoops. What's Stoops?
A defensive coach, disciplinarian.
Right?
Yeah.
What's Stein?
Offensive coordinator,
right.
Young.
Again, they go 8 times out of 10, they go 180 the other way.
And so Will Stein I was really intrigued by this window that he hadn't been brought up more because he was a hot name last year. He was a hot name going into this season. And then all of a sudden, all these coaches were being hired and it felt like it was just like he was there. He, of course, is from Kentucky. He played at Louisville, which was the very interesting piece of this. So it made the Louisville Jeff Brom part of everything more intriguing because if, for instance, Jeff Brom had been hired elsewhere before Kentucky hired Will Stein, and Stein as the option of Kentucky or Louisville, would have made that a real interesting decision because, of course, they are rivals. Speaking of new hires, another one yesterday, we discussed a rumor that was hot out there. Michigan State hires Pat Fitzgerald as their new head coach.
Yeah.
So
Look,
He was brought in. He reached a settlement with Northwestern in August, 2 years after he sued the university amid the hazing scandal we've talked about here quite a lot on the show. So he is now back in the Big Ten with Michigan State, replacing Jonathan Smith, who was let go on Sunday after a victory over Maryland.
the Jonathan Smith thing I found to be interesting because I think, Jonathan Smith is a good coach. And he has nothing to do with the Mel Tucker scandal.
He got the raw end of a bad deal.
He really did.
And he got put in the worst situation where there was nothing he could have done to fix that. And he would have needed probably another 5 to 6 years to rectify it. And that just wasn't coming.
Right. Now, as for Pat, everybody will tell you he's a great guy. Okay. And he did, up until the last couple of years, he did a great job at Northwestern. Did a great job with Northwestern. The last couple of years, he stumbled, and his last year, he won that opening game against Nebraska in Ireland, where Scott Frost went for that ill-fated onside kick. I'll never figure out what the thought process was behind that. And then he lost 11 straight games. Well, we know what happened with the hazing thing, and when the hazing thing came up, he sued. And we were in Chicago at the time when the news of the lawsuit came out. Penn State was going to play Northwestern. And I saw the name of the law firm. Look, and I looked over at Jack. I said, Northwestern needs to settle now. I said, with all due respect, and I meant this as a compliment, I said, these people, in terms of like their reputation, they're killers. In the courtroom, they are killers. I said, Northwestern's going to have to settle. Well, golly gee willikers. Guess what Northwestern had to do? They settled for $100 million. Law firm gets 40. He gets the other 60. Taxes then kick in after that. I mean, that's an issue that I know you. So
have. he got probably like 35-ish, 40-ish, whatever.
I mean, when you've won lawsuits, how much percentage do you keep? What? Just
never
ask.
Been in one. Will never be in one. BC, by the way. BC, by the way, has announced Bill O'Brien will return to BC for next year, and they're going to max out on the rev share for next season as well.
Okay, so let's get to BYU for a moment. Father Leahy has been there. Father Butler is taking over. Father Leahy was always fine with athletics. Father Butler loves athletics. See, don't ever sit there and whomever your president, chancellor, or whatever the name of the position happens to be at the top, that does play a role in support that you get. That's why when James Franklin was here, he talked about the alignment between president, athletic director, football coach. He talked about that alignment because the president is very important in that alignment part. All right? Let's be honest about it. What percentage of the faculty here do you think loves athletics? I mean,
great question.
I mean, I'm saying though, do you think the entire faculty here is enamored with athletics? Of course not. No. Are there some that love it? Of course. Are there many that don't? Yes. Right? Well, if you have a president though that feels that way, that is more aligned with how certain members of the faculty feel, well, it's kind of whatever, win some games, do whatever. Right? Or if you have somebody that's like, hey, right? Let's take a former president, Santa Ono at
Michigan.
At Michigan, right? No longer there. I can't remember where he ended up going. All right. And he loved Harbaugh. Harbaugh would go around Ward Manuel, the athletic director, and go to Santa Ono on things. Well, it made a big difference in terms of how they threw resources in. So back to BC, Father Leahy was like, athletics is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Father Leahy can have his own, theory and thought about where it's placed in society and on campus and so forth. There's nothing wrong with that. Father Butler, on the other hand, thinks he loves athletics.
Yeah.
And so Bill's got a better shot because I think they're going to have more resources just because of the alignment between president, AD, and football coach. And that's not a knock on Father Leahy at all. I'm saying everybody has to have their own.
Yeah.
But if you're going to say what gives Bill O'Brien the best shot, having Father Butler ascend to that position does put them in a better spot.
Yes. We have been asked by John in the chat, hi, Steve, can you comment on Al Golden and his prospects as a head coach, including possibly here with Penn State? He checks most requirements someone would want as a head coach, and he checks the boxes that Pat Kraft listed at the press conference where he discussed what he wanted in a head coach moving forward. So,
well, Al Golden is something I think so highly of. He was here at Penn State as the linebacker coach, and of course was a tight end here at Penn State. I thought he did wonders at Temple. Wonders. I mean, Temple was a job that careers went to die. Okay?
Yeah.
Al took it and he resurrected it and made them relevant. Difficult to do. He was given a very, very bad hand at Miami. He had zero to do with the sanctions there. Yet he had to endure all of them. And he took the slings and arrows for the fact that they weren't a 10, 11-win team every single year when he was trying to shovel it against the tide. Okay? He did a great job as the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. I don't think there's any doubt this year that when you watch the Bengals play, quarterback's been their problem because Joe Burrow's out. Their defense is actually playing much better. And on Thanksgiving night, they created, now one of them, I mean, Jackson just dropped it, but they created 5 turnovers in that game. Right? Well, the Bengals defensively weren't doing that.
And they've been without Trey Hendrickson, their best defensive end.
Hendrickson has not been playing.
And they traded Logan Wilson, their linebacker,
So, I mean, look.
Playing well.
Al has all the experience as a head coach. Al, I think, is actually a really good head coach. And I think as an assistant coach, he's shown at Notre Dame with their run to the national championship game last year, and he's showing with the improvement of a Bengals defense that is all banged up. And they've traded Logan Wilson.
Yeah.
They don't have Hendrickson, yet they still are putting out a representative product defensively. It speaks highly to what Al has done. So
from the defensive side to the offensive side, we've also been asked in the chat about a certain person in Columbus, Ohio, Brian Hartline. He is another person who's been brought up in not just conversations of head coaching in Happy Valley, but also he was brought up as a name for Kentucky, and also he's brought up as a name for Louisville if they end up having to replace Jeff Brom somewhere down the line. So
I would
Brian
think
Hartline.
For Brian Hartline, he's in a great spot. Now, he's only been the offensive coordinator 1 year. How much, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know how much he's calling and how much Ryan Day is calling. I don't know. For all I know, Brian is doing 100% of it. For all I know, Ryan gets involved. Yeah. I don't know. That's okay. His ability to recruit, especially at the wide receiver spot, it's like a revolving door of one 5-star guy after another. So let's take the third best receiver on the current roster at Ohio State. That's Brandon Innes, the slot receiver. He's a 5-star guy too.
Yeah.
Right? That's the third best guy that they have. He's had the ability to not only recruit them, but he's had the ability to make them better once they got there. Chris Olave got better, right? Okay,
well, let's go backwards.
Jackson Smith and Jigma's been able to get better. Jeremiah Smith is better, right? Carnell Tate's really improved in 3 years. So he does a good
Ibuka from last year. Oh my gosh!
Right? I'm just saying, but it's not like bringing them in, but he obviously makes them better by what he does. All right. Now the question is, this is his first year doing it as a coordinator as opposed to being a position coach. So now you get half the football team to deal with, right? And yeah, I mean, that part's unknown. As an exciting name, yeah, he's an exciting name, all right. Just like Will Stein going to Kentucky is an exciting name because of what he's done at Oregon. Now, the question's going to be your ability to recruit and what name you have behind you. If you, like Will Stein's now going to be instead of recruiting for Oregon,
he's now
he's going to be
Kentucky.
recruiting for Kentucky. Right now, it means a lot to him. He's from Kentucky, but I'm just saying that
the resources at Kentucky are different than they are at Oregon for dozens of reasons.
Right, a lot of reasons. Same thing. Now the Louisville job is not open. Okay, as of right now, but he is something. A very intriguing name that brings a lot to the table. I've heard nothing but good things about him. And I'm talking I talk to Paul Keels and Jim Lachey and those guys all the time about their people. And they ask me about people here too.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, his reputation is great. I think he's in his late 30s.
Who, Will Stein?
No, Brian Hartline.
Brian Hartline is 39 years old, I believe.
Well, that would be the late 30s.
Would be late 30s, yes. Good at math.
So, so I hope that answered that question.
It does answer that question. Thank you, Mr. Steve Jones. So these are all the kind of the weird coaching carousel going on right now. Yesterday I know, but it's more my point of just it's as one domino falls, which was Lane Kiffin, all of a sudden everything has fallen beyond it, and it started just a
But as I said, when this process began, I would always answer questions about a candidate, or at least an opinion on somebody that somebody thinks is a candidate, and at least give somebody a thumbnail on each guy as to what I think. I have no problem doing that. I didn't sit here and endorse anybody, right? That's not my job. Okay, that's Pat's job. That's Vinny James' job. Okay, but if somebody wants to ask, what do you think of this person, like these very nice people have done, I'm more than happy to do that. All right, and tell you what they bring to the table that are positives.
Yeah. Last night, the New England Patriots won 33-15 over the New York Giants.
Goodness gracious.
But the headline here in Happy Valley has been Abdul Carter. Yeah, this is now his second time he's been benched second time in 3 games due to disciplinary reasons for some purposes. This one was due to tardiness, is what is being talked about. So it is a piece of it. And we'll see going forward what it looks like for Abdul Carter. It just more looks like it was tardiness. We'll see what happens for him going forward.
And once he got in the game, he actually played well.
Great.
But it was...
You got to be in the game, and you got to...
I mean, the Giants are a mess. Okay. They're, 2-11 right now? I think they have their quarterback. I like Jackson Dart.
He's great.
They've been playing without Malik Neighbors. That hasn't helped.
Cam Scatteraboo hasn't helped.
Scatteraboo being out hasn't helped. They're both out for the year. Theo Johnson's played well for them. Their offensive line is a mixed bag. That's still going to be a problem for them. Defensively, I mean, it wasn't just Abdul Carter. Brian Burns did not go in the locker room at halftime, I think, for almost all of it.
Yeah.
Right? He just sat on the bench. Okay. I mean, they're a mess. I mean, as much as we think the Jets are a mess, the franchise on the other side of the building there might be a bigger mess right now. Even though the Giants probably have the better quarterback of the two teams.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We are being asked in the chat about the idea of only giving a coach, the length of a contract for a coach.
Yeah.
Because this has been something that's brought up I'll just give the scenario that's been brought up of what if you give a coach a 2 to 3 year contract and not a 6-year contract, for instance. Why does a guy like Lane Kiffin get a 6 to 8 year deal? Why is Kalani Sitake going to get, if he were to leave, would get a similar 6 to 8 year deal instead of giving someone a 2 to 3 year deal?
Right.
And I'll point out the obvious, but I want your thoughts and feelings on it of just a 2 to 3 year deal does not give a vote of confidence to the coach. It also means to a recruit, let's say, hey, I want you here for the next 4 years, but the coach only has a 2-year contract. I don't know who's going to coach me in 2 years all of a sudden. Could it be that guy? Sure. Could it be someone else? I don't know. I don't want to commit my 4-year future to you if you're not going to be there for 4 years.
I can answer that very simply in how many Penn State verbal commitments are now verbally committed to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's the simple answer to it right there, just to put it in terms that a Penn State fan can relate to, because they've committed to a coach and the coach is not here any longer. I think James has a 5-year deal.
I think it's a 5 or 6 year.
No, it's 5, I think.
5?
5 down at Virginia Tech. There is still an old school thought process on this. I realize the 2 to 3 years a new school thought process, but the old school thought process is still the right one. Where, all right, so let's take Lane Kiffin. I talked about this yesterday, so I'll do the Lane Kiffin thing for you very quickly.
Go for it.
All right. Lane Kiffin has been at Ole Miss for the vast majority of his time mining the transfer portal. That's exhausting. Okay. LSU, he'll be able to go into the transfer portal and be more selective because their ability to recruit and get guys that are going to be 3-year players and potentially 4 or 5, but 3-year players at minimum, all right? His ability to recruit there is greater than his ability to recruit at Ole Miss. He's got a better recruiting area, and it's just an easier thing to do. I think that played some role in what's going on. The portal can be just an exhausting, especially when there's going to be a cast of thousands in it on January 2nd.
And they are already entering like hotcakes today.
Right.
I have seen dozens of players entering.
Well, I mean, they're entering today, but they're not in.
No, yeah. They're quote-unquote entering the portal today, and it's going to be a very long day and next month of this happening because then in a month's time,
but again,
the portal
January
opens.
2nd, you can actually go in. You can say you're going in right now. That means nothing to me, okay? Doesn't mean anything to me right now because today's December 2nd. It is not January 2nd, right? So that's still a month out. But that becomes an exhausting process. That's why when the person brings up the years of a contract, you want 6 to 8 because you want to project stability in the program to recruits, but also project stability to people you bring in the portal, right? I mean, not everybody that's in the portal is a junior or a senior.
Some are sophomores.
I mean, you've got a lot of people that could be redshirt juniors, right? A sophomore, whatever it may be. And, well, you're only here 2 to 3 years. Like, okay, like people long for, as fans, as staff members, and as players, all 3 groups yearn for stability, right? 6 to 8 year contract brings with it stability or the image of it, as opposed to 2 to 3.
Yeah.
So that's how I would answer that question.
And I also want to, on the same topic, we kind of talked about it with Kehlani Sitake. We've discussed it a lot with Will Stein and Terry Smith. The idea of having a coach who has been, especially in college, at the program you are now a part of, or from the area or something similar, of having that piece of it. Like, what does that do for you when you're recruiting, and what does it do for you when you're in the transfer portal of getting someone, like if you're talking to a player, like having the history of it, because Lane Kiffin's recruiting differently than, let's say, a Terry Smith would, where Terry Smith recruiting someone is like, I have that Penn State history, and he's talked about this openly. Well, but if you're a Lane Kiffin, and he doesn't have history of Louisiana State University, like, what is the
dynamic is quite simple. All right. When you are not from there, you are selling the program. When you are from there, you are sharing the program. You're sharing your experience. You're sharing what this place has meant to you, continues to mean to you. So right now, Kehlani Sitake, with every BYU recruit, he has shared his BYU experience. Should he come here, he'd be selling Penn State. That's why I think it would behoove him. And I think, and again, I don't know the man at all. I've heard nothing but great things about him. But it would behoove him to keep people that have ties here, right? And not just do a total like, oh, okay, everybody's got it. No, right? No, you need people around that can share the program, know the recruiting area, know the homes that you're going into, know what makes Penn State tick, and understand that, while still bringing in a bunch of people you trust. That's fine, right? Because believe me, if the people you keep here, you'll end up trusting them, because I can tell you, they're all good people here. You'll end up trusting them, right? But it doesn't mean you've got to bring in people that you trust, that you're comfortable with, and so forth. But a really smart coach that comes in here looks and go, and guess what? Right? I mean, Penn State won 34 games in 3 years before this season.
It's not half bad.
Okay? In other words, even with the 6 wins this year, they've won 40 games in 4 years. Right? They weren't doing that bad a job. Okay? It's like, so I wouldn't look at everybody and go, I don't know, we got to make some big changes here. No, I mean, there will be changes, no question, because whomever comes in here has to put their own stamp on what's going on. But that own stamp also doesn't mean that you just look at it. Like when Bill O'Brien came in, he kept Larry Johnson and Ron Vanderlinden. It made a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay? It made a big difference in what was going on around here. When Urban Meyer took the Ohio State job, Luke Fickell was the interim head coach. Kept him. Made a big difference.
And it's been discussed of if Lane Kiffin looks like is going to try and retain, I think it's Brian Baker.
Yes.
He's the defensive coordinator, and there's also rumors he might be taking the Tulane job, but he's going to try and retain him, and so it's a piece of it.
Everything. It's interesting about coaching moves. People get really excited about a coaching move.
And they're like, oh my gosh, this is the guy, this is the coach, this is the this.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into the coaching.
I get more excited about the games.
Yes. Speaking of games, Steve Jones.
I get more excited about the games. I mean, like I said, I think stability means something, right? I mean, and there are too many people. I mean, that after 2 or 3 years, want to pull the plug on somebody. It's not happening fast enough. Just slow down. Look, believe me, you don't think, if anybody sits there and thinks that I don't want to announce the NCAA basketball tournament, okay, you need to have a long, lengthy examination with your psychiatrist. Long. Okay? If you don't think I don't want to broadcast the college football playoff, you need to extend your psychiatry session. So of course I do. I want somebody that's going to come in here and get Penn State to the NCAA basketball tournament. I want somebody that's going to come in here and get Penn State to the college football playoff. Right? I'm also smart enough to know that circumstances might mean it takes a little more time. That's why I've always been more patient than other people because I see the process play out in front of my eyes all the time. Right? And so he's got to go. It's been they've gone 2 years. They haven't won.
Well, speaking,
and you stand up in front of groups sometimes. And you ask yourself, do I waste my time and my words answering this? Or do I just move to the next question?
Tough question. Speaking of basketball.
No, it's not a tough question. It's one of those, like, you sit back and like, excuse me, you baffle me.
Yeah. For Penn State men's basketball, they're in action tonight against the Campbell Camels.
Fighting Camels.
The
Fighting Camels.
Incredible name.
Yes, Dick and I are trying to figure out if there are any Campbells in North Carolina. We think no. Look, this is a team that attacks the basket. When you look at the percentage of points they get, 9 times out of 10, even 9.5 times out of 10, the normal number is highest number, 2-pointers, percentage. The next highest is 3-pointers, and the bottom number is always free throws. Not this team. Highest number is 2-pointers. The second highest percentage of points on this team, free throws.
So they're going to get to the line. They're going to try and
they're going to attack the basket. A couple of left-handers out there. They're going to attack over and over. DJ Smith's a good player, wants to attack. Right? James Kidd wants to get there, wants to attack. Cam Gregory, they played before. Gregory played against them. I want to say it's St. Francis, wants to attack the basket. Okay? That's how they want to play, where they're getting as many points in the lane and they're getting as many free throw attempts as possible, because they only get 21% of their points from the three-point area. Because, it's not as if they can't hit three-pointers. Yes, they can, but it really is not their MO. And that is Just so everybody thinks, was kind of wondering whether I was concentrating on other things. I do have that ability.
Yes, you do. In this last game, Penn State took down Sacred Heart. I know
Didn't see the game.
You did not see the game.
I know.
Yeah.
Caden was the Big Ten Freshman of the Week, by the way,
because he had 8 steals.
Which he's only the third player in the history of Penn State basketball with 8 steals in a game. Money Brown had 8 against Rhode Island. Ace Baldwin had 8 against Northwestern. And now 8 for Caden Mingo against Sacred Heart. Those are the 3 that have had 8 steals in a game for Penn State.
Pretty good company to be in.
It's pathetic, I know that. So
I'm surprised Dick Girardi hasn't called in and told us that.
Dom Stewart was put back in the starting lineup. A big reason for that is that Dom is playing pretty well defensively. We know that Dom can shoot, but it's one thing about what Dominic's been able to do. He has worked hard. Now, we all know he's a good shooter, especially that wing 3. He's worked harder to be a better defender, and it's showing. So I think that put him back in the starting lineup, and Eli Rice has been coming off the bench.
He went 3 for 4 from 3. Eli Rice, Dom Stewart went 2 for 6 last time, so combined 5 for 10 from those 2. I think if Mike Rhodes, you're happy with that number. It's a pretty 50% from 3 on that is pretty strong.
Of course you are.
So Penn State now, by the way, Mele Tuncha had 2 blocks in this past game.
Yes, Mele. Yes.
To add into that. So we'll see what Penn State's got tonight.
I didn't have Mele on the old bingo card with 2 blocks.
You
didn't,
okay. Yeah. I'll tell him that next time I see him.
No, I'll tell him straight to his face.
Yeah.
He'll laugh about it. Have you ever talked to him?
I have not yet.
He really is. Right? From Turkey. Right? Only child. Parents actually came over for Thanksgiving. Actually, his parents came over the week before Thanksgiving. No, they came out the week of Thanksgiving. They were there they played Tuesday night with BU. His parents were there.
Okay.
Which is great. He's 19. He played against men. Right? In the European leagues, that's what you're doing.
You're playing against human beings.
Right. And he and Tibor Mirotic, when they originally got the visa, you got to go through this visa process. You know what they originally were told? October of next year.
Oh, so they weren't expected to play for Penn State until 2020.
No. They were expected to play this year.
Oh,
they were told by the government.
Next
year. So then it's not as if, look, Mike Rhodes grew up in a family where his late father, Jim, was one of the great guys I ever met. Jim Rhodes, one of the great guys I ever met. And it's not as if Mike didn't have some connections politically to make some phone calls. Well, when he was done with that, they got it up to October of this year. It's still a little close to the season.
A little tough.
And then finally, out of nowhere, they were able to get him in time for International Orientation Day here, both of them. All right? So they had to fight a little bit to get them both here. And Tibor, I think Tibor is going to be a 10-6 guy. 10.6 rebounds. I think the way he finishes around the basket, he sets screens, and he's a physical player. I think
he is,
and I think his ability to get rebounds, because when he got here, he was in shape, but not in basketball shape. Then in the preseason, got banged up a little bit, so it kind of slowed him down a little bit. Now he's rounding back into basketball shape, and you see it on the floor, makes a difference. Mele, and we were talking about Mele, right? Same story, and as I mentioned before, only child, right? Sees all the chess pieces on the floor. The only thing that delayed him is on the first day of practice. First day. Okay? Gets banged up. I'm like, you got to be kidding. It happened like 30 feet in front of me. I'm sitting there like going, you got to be kidding me. Right?
Head slams.
So, you're just like, I'm not going to get in what the injury was.
Well, I'm saying your head was just like...
Right? I'm like, because you're watching him, I'm going, boy, this kid can really play. Man, look at him, man. He sees the floor. He makes passes. So it just took him a little bit to, get through it. He finally got through it. And now you see him out there playing. It's like he just sees the other 9 chess pieces on the board so well. And, I mean, both those guys can play. I mean, and then you get Ivan Juric. Juric gets a little bit better every time out.
Yeah.
The only thing that's baffling to me about Ivan Juric is that I think he should be a better free throw shooter than he is.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got a nice stroke at the line. But look, this kid's a 7-foot player who knows. You watch him pass. He flicks the wrist.
Yeah.
Ding. Ball comes out. Ding. Like, he doesn't have to wind up.
He's shooting currently just above 50% from the foul line.
I think he was 4 of 8 on Saturday or something like that. He's been getting a little bit better.
Yeah, he's at 51.6% on the season so far. He's averaging just shy of 10 points a game. But yeah, it's Penn State basketball. I'm intrigued by it. Sasa Ciani, I also want to bring him up. He has some gigantic shoulders. That guy's shoulders scare me.
Ciani can help them. I think what Sasha has to do is he's got to get himself to a point where he's playing with more confidence out there. Playing against Ivan every day should be a iron sharpening iron situation. He began the year in the starting lineup. It became obvious after a period of time that E should be starting, and is. Sasha can help them because in the Big Ten, which begins a week from today at Indiana, like the Navy situation, they had a 7-footer, 6'11". But when he went to the bench, the guy that replaced him was 6'3", 6'4". In the Big Ten, the 6'10" guy goes to the bench, and they bring in another 6'10" guy.
Bringing a guy who's 6'11".
So you're going to have to face bigger players on a more consistent basis, and it's not like Sasa Ciani has not faced them before. He's he's a 5th-year player.
Yeah. So it is going to be intriguing moving forward what Penn State men's basketball looks like. They're in action tonight. You and Dick Girardi are on the call beginning at 5:30 with the pregame show.
And I am on the rest of the way. There's no
no more overlap.
There's no more overlap. No, not even unless. No. All the dates they've talked about on bowl games, there's no conflict at all. Because remember, the game on the 29th is a Monday game. There are no bowl games at night on that night because why? It's Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Right? ESPN controls so many of these bowl games. They schedule them as TV shows, right? I think the Birmingham Bowl is that day. Monday Night Football is that night. So that's it. The Birmingham Bowl has no affiliation with the Big Ten, so I have no conflicts the rest of the way.
Well, there we go. And you will get more Penn State coverage. If there's any coaching news, we'll have all of that moving forward. Again, pay attention to all of our things on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the platforms. At 7 Mountain Sports and all of them. You will see Steve Jones back here tomorrow with Jason Lord on the show, which I know you are very excited for. And Jason Lord, sadly, has not entered the transfer portal for your sadness, Steve Jones. He is staying here in Happy Valley.
All right.
We retained him on a new contract. 17 years, $900 million.
To be honest with you, I actually was the one that put his name in.
Jason, we love you.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all on Sports Talk with Steve Jones.